Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. For this video we'll be going through hopefully a unboxing review with a time lapse in between of Lloyd's quad bike sets 30539, and this is a polybag set for the LEGO Ninjago line. So now that I have access to a LEGO store with some level of regularity, I'm actually happy that I've got access to polybags because they're very hard to find, at least prior to the LEGO store, and surprisingly enough some of the polybag stuff actually isn't too bad, especially for quick and easy builds, which I suspect this will be. So here we have Lloyd's quad bike. Now based on the artwork I can only imagine that this was probably, I want to say, 2 themes back. So not the current one, and the previous one was like the Crystal King theme. I think it was the one before that when they were doing some of the jungle stuff. I feel this polybag would have been released around that time. So that's the front of the polybag with Lloyd on his quad bike. Some typical artwork, and then the back of the polybag is pretty much like that. So obviously everything is just going to be one giant massive parts. There is a miniaturized manual there. It's been folded up, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes once opened. But yes, what I'm hoping to do is pretty much do a quick time-lapse build of this, then we can have a super quick review of the quad bike. And with the time lapse now finished, so here we have the completed quad bike and Lloyd himself. So having a quick look at Lloyd, so he does have a dual face that you might have seen in the time lapse. So if I was to take his headpiece off, so that's his angry face, and on his back his more not so happy face. So in this case he's using more of his angry face with his weird Rambo impersonation. Now the set will come with 3 of these swords. I've just attached one to Lloyd himself. It's probably a spare, but that's fine. It's always nice to have some of these extra weapons here and there. And in terms of Lloyd himself, that's pretty much an example of his minifig detailing. And then on the back, in his usual colour scheme. Standard minifig, so I won't spend too much time about what can and cannot move. As for the quad bike itself, so it wasn't overly complex, but it's actually not too bad looking in its very simplistic and stylized look. In terms of what can actually move, so each of these wheels are movable, they will roll, which is great. The tires are surprisingly more of that rubber material, not so much the plastic, which is always cool. Other things that potentially can move, although whether they should or should not, subject to debate. Front of the grille, although it does look a lot better with the grille all the way up. It is a quad bike, and then all the way down. There'll be some movement here with the quad bike handles, which is okay. Good if you do actually intend to sit Lloyd in there. Although, looking at the cover, he actually may not sit. He actually may stand on the quad bike. Other things that move, so this little back pole banner can move up and down as well, based on this connection here. And if you want to have some type of loosely dynamic posing on the flag, it can move around as well. The other things that's going to have some degree of movement, so obviously these swords can be detached from their holder at the top. That'll be the same on both sides. So if I was to just take this particular sword out from Lloyd's hand, now apparently Lloyd, you actually stand in the quad bike, you don't actually sit. So without actually posing his hands correctly, that is him standing on the quad bike. Definitely not too bad. I mean, it's a polybag build, it's not going to be super realistic, but overall I think that is quite cool. It's a little, I think it only took me about 5 minutes to do that, so I think it's very cool. One of those quick and simple things if you want to just have a few minutes of build and you may or may not have a very busy routine. Colours are obviously very typical Lloyd, so he does have some shades of green on there, but it actually does work quite well overall. None of the colours look too overstimulating. The colours that are non-green do work quite well, so overall it's got some good colour balance. Final thoughts, it's a polybag. If you want something a bit more time consuming, a bit more detailed and things like that, you would naturally look into the proper sets. But as a fairly cheap polybag, which once again took me about 5-6 minutes to put together, with a very pleasant looking end result, I think it's pretty good. If you want to spend a few dollars just to have a quick build, this actually isn't too bad. And plus, for all those who are still active LEGO collectors, there's probably no doubt that you want to have some of these sets in your collection. I do have a few more polybags that I'd like to do in the future. There's also some of these 2-in-1 type polybags as well, so that'll be interesting because I have to try and build 2 things in one sitting. But yeah, overall, I'm really glad that I can get access to some of these polybags. I'm quite enjoying these little very quick builds, and yeah, as I said, I actually quite like the look of it. It's very cute, quick and easy, and yeah, it's been nice to actually do that. And plus it also helps with the channel's content as well, to do these little time lapses where I can't necessarily do it with some of the large sets. In saying that, I do know channels that do real-time builds, especially with larger sets. Something I've pondered, might still be something I look into the future, but I'm definitely non-committal at this point in time. Definitely start with the polybags, work our way up. If people actually do enjoy some of these live build type videos, feel free to leave a comment. I'd be definitely interested to see if there is a potential viewing desire to see content of that nature. So that brings us to an end of the unboxing, time-lapse and quick review of Lloyd's quad bike set 30539, I believe it was. Definitely fun little set. Glad I picked one up. and it will definitely encourage me to definitely look at more polybag acquisitions in the future. With all that being said, in fact I don't even remember what I just said now. Yeah, standard preamble of thanks, support the channel, Instagram for extra content. If I didn't already say that already, stay safe and take care, and I will see you all, hopefully, in a future video. See ya.